So what Parker and Snell is doing next is The Importance of Being Earnest. It is on at the Gaiety Theatre from the 19th to the 21st of July. And I keep saying, Carl, that there is something of a twist. Can you tell us what that twist is?
Well, the twist is that it's going to be an all-male cast. So
how did that come about?
Well, it came about, Mrs. Davies, should I say, because you weren't available to play Cecily.
It's your fault.
So, and I think we had Helen McKenna to play Gwendolyn, but she had to go away for an exam or something, and then obviously you weren't available. So, Colin, the artistic director, had a spark of what's the word I'm looking for? Spark of
Genius.
Inspiration, and decided, right, let's try it with an all-male cast. And actually, I mean, it is a challenge, but we just thought, well, let's try and excavate the comedy as much as possible out of the play. So.
And has it ever been done this way before? Because it feels to me like it would absolutely lend itself to this.
I'm sure it has. I mean, I haven't found anything online in terms of an all-male production, but I'm sure it must have been done at some point because, like you say, it does lend itself to, the comedy aspect, certainly of the men playing women. And if you think about actually the origins of theatre, female actresses, they were non-existent. It was all males playing all the roles, particularly in the Shakespeare and Jacobean plays and things. So, but yeah, it should be interesting, hopefully.
I notice you are both quite hirsute. Are you going to keep the beards on?
No, I think I managed to get away with it for Mousetrap. I'd kept the beard for Mousetrap. But I don't think that it's as easy to, because you've got to think about the period and things like that. Yeah,
and I don't know if Lady Bracknell would suit having a beard, although you could argue you could do it that way.
She may have had one.
Yes, she might have.
For people who aren't familiar with the play, can you give us a brief overview?
Yeah, it was written by Oscar Wilde, so famous playwright. It opened in 1895, if I remember rightly. But actually it only ran in St James's Theatre for, I think, about 84, 85 performances, because Oscar Wilde at the time was getting, in court for his homosexuality. So he was in prison for 2 years. And the play actually came off the West End after 84 performances, which is a shame because you think it could actually have been something like The Mousetrap in terms of its run and so on. But I think it's his most famous play. He describes it as a trivial comedy for serious people. Sort of other people who observe it and look at it subjectively say it's a comedy stroke farce. So you can play it any which way, you can approach it different aspects, because if you look at what was the film with Judi Dench? I think she did it in the 90s.
Yeah, it was a production in the 90s with
which was quite straight for me.
Firth.
I watched the film and I didn't really find much humour in it. And Michael Redgrave did it in 1952 with Dame Edith Evans, which is the famous haaandbaaag.
Yay! So, did it.
So she did it in 1952, and that was quite. They looked at the comedy aspect, but if you look at some of the different variations of how you can approach the Ernest, you can do it purely as a 100% farce, or I can understand why some people just try and go straight down the middle with it. So obviously with us doing an all-male cast, we're trying to excavate as much comedy as possible.
Charlie, tell us a little bit about your character then.
My character is Algernon Moncrief. He's a bit of a debonair chap. I think we probably can describe it. Yes, thank you. And he is one half. The play really focuses, I think, around the two individuals. The first being Jack, who calls himself Ernest in town, and the second being Algernon, who then calls himself Ernest in the country. And the play orientates around these two pretending to be other people, effectively, and then trying to win the hearts of two young women.
Well.
But it's a very, it is, as Carl said, his most famous play. I think it's his most light-hearted play, Oscar Wilde's most light-hearted play. Because he'd done a few previously, Lady Windermere's Fan and these sort of things, and you might also know obviously his book The Picture of Dorian Gray, and he'd kind of written a little bit darker in some of those, a bit more serious, and this was his final play, I think, that he wrote before the trial situation. But it was his more light-hearted one. It was received very well by critics and things, so I think it is, as Carl said, it's his most universally loved play. I think it's because it kind of touches on a lot of themes that people enjoy.
And so you're clearly not then playing one of the women.
No, I'm not, no.
No. So, Carl, who are playing the ladies?
Actually, two young men, Joshua Moore and Samuel Turk. So they both came through the acting classes with us. I mean, Josh has done quite a few plays with us. He was in The Mousetrap playing Christopher Wren. He's done Peter Pan, who's Peter Pan and 101 Dalmatians. And Samuel Turk is now studying in Salford Tech, so he's doing his, I think, acting performing degree in Salford. So those two are playing the roles, which are, I mean, it is challenging for them because it's the first time they've actually, I mean, for me, I don't know what it is. I mean, I sort of slip into female roles quite easily. I don't know why. But for the two young lads, I mean, it is a challenge for them because, you know, you're doing all the feminine gestures and mannerisms. You're trying to sort of make it humorous and light and funny and all the rest of it. So, I mean, they've done incredibly well. We've still got a week to go in terms of rehearsals. We've only had 2 weeks so far. So, you know, I'm quite confident in what the final product will be.